Hello, dear friends. Heaven has been telling us for years what is going to happen, so that we can prepare ourselves calmly, not so that we lose our patience. The skeptics and the impatient will be the least prepared when the surprise arrives, and the most affected. Knowledge is power. Opinion piece. Age of peace. Planetary reset. Decryption of files. Secret space program. Bright and hopeful future. Return to a legitimate system. Let's start. World peace is not a dream, according to Ben Dunklin. It is the natural result of systems based on truth. And for the first time in our lives, we are entering a system built on divine mathematics, a form of equilibrium that cannot be manipulated, distorted, or falsified by human hands, a form of balance. We are entering an era where peace is not an ideal, but something unavoidable. A world where conflict is no longer profitable, where truth regains its value, where sovereignty replaces manipulation, and where humanity emerges from the shadow of endless bankers' wars. A world where people remember who they are, where faith begins to resurface, and where nations learn to build on unshakable foundations. For the first time, you can feel the years of history turning in a different direction. It feels as though the planet is awakening, not to chaos, but to order, clarity, and truth. A global awakening is brewing that will restore what corruption buried, and you can feel within yourself that humanity is entering a new era. Business. The old world operated on a formula that almost no one questioned, creating conflicts, destroying resources, and profiting from the ashes. War for profit became a business model, and humanity became the fool. The people paid with blood while the elite collected interest. That era is beginning to crumble, not because leaders have suddenly become honest, but because they are losing their source of energy, the engine that drives manufactured chaos. The system that thrived on suffering is being quietly dismantled. Most people are still unaware of the true depth of this shift. Nations are awakening to a simple yet powerful truth. If you remove the incentive for destruction, you remove the possibility of initiating it. If money cannot be created out of thin air, we cannot be financed indefinitely. Accountability stifles conflict at its source. Sound currency becomes the foundation of peace. When money is honest, governments must act honestly. When value is real, decisions must be real. You cannot finance a war by printing money when every banknote must be backed by truth, not illusion. Return. We are returning to something ancient and sovereign. A world where value is tied to productivity, not financial deception or manufactured debt. A system is being created that cannot hide the shadows of war, because the record reveals everything. The underground economy, fueled by global conflicts, is losing its hiding place. Countries are abandoning alliances based on fear and adopting alliances based on responsibility. A new message is taking place. Take care of your region. We'll take care of ours. And for the first time, global stability is becoming attainable. Sovereignty is returning, and those who held power are losing the grip they have relied on for decades. The era of global control is coming to an end. No more manufactured coups, no more foreign-sponsored chaos, no more hidden hands pulling the strings of nations from the shadows. Now the focus is shifting back to rebuilding what corruption destroyed and restoring the foundations that have silently eroded. A nation cannot stabilize the world until it first stabilizes itself. Once of the networks of chaos have been dismantled and the operators who profited from the conflict removed, the true mission begins to restore stability, prosperity, and the human spirit. Peace doesn't start when the guns fall silent. Peace is built brick by brick, law by law, truth by truth. Peace begins when the systems that require conflict are dismantled from within. The hidden conduits that fueled global destabilization are being sealed, and the old mechanisms of endless war are losing their oxygen. This is the path of history that most people will never see, but will undoubtedly feel. A new world is beginning to emerge, where nations protect their own borders instead of policing the planet, where sovereignty is respected instead of exploited, and where power doesn't demand conquest because it cannot be financed. It cannot be financed the conquest, I mean. Might still exists, but domination is dying. As this shift continues, you will continue to witness the awakening of the global power structure in real time. Black budget operations are being exposed and dismantled piece by piece. Reset. The endgame is already underway and will continue to accelerate. This is a planetary reset, not the corporate reset they planned, nor the globally reset they announced, but a human reset based on truth, sovereignty, and accountability. A reset driven by the awakening of the people, the breakdown of systems, a world that rejects the illusions it was raised on, and return to sanity after generations of man-made madness. When money becomes honest, governments must act honestly. Wars cease to be profitable and the world begins to heal. Slowly at first, then suddenly. This shift is not driven by speeches, treaties, or staged political theater. It is based on a profound structural change that redefines incentives and eradicates corruption. We enter a world where truth reigns, where the people live in abundance, and where the system of deception that once exhausted humanity are replaced by systems that multiply life, strength, and prosperity. Future historians will call it the turning point, a moment when the old world lost control. The storm was never chaos, but purification. Peace arrives after truth resets the course of events, and the world returns to the path it was always meant to follow, from darkness to light. Lawyers. Guardian Daniel announces the dismantling of lawyer monopolies and the return to a legitimate legal system. He describes a hidden process of dismantling the global cartel of lawyers operating under this system as part of a transition to a genuine legal framework, free from corporate influence. He also mentions the end of oppressive practices and the restoration of true legal principles. Deciphered. Trump classified artificial intelligence data centers as military installations through Executive Order 14,318. I repeat, 14318. This orders directs federal agencies to expedite permits for AI data centers. They thought the secrets in plural were safe and that encryption would protect them forever. On Monday, June 22nd, Executive Order 14,411 was signed. The media called it a quantum innovation. They have no idea what was activated. It's not a technology order, but a decryption weapon according to Axios 4b. The order contains the list of top priority decryption targets. The quantum computer doesn't just break codes. It breaks the entire secret system that has protected the shadow elite for decades. The first batch will be processed in March 2027. The machine is under construction. The data is being collected and no encryption can survive what's coming. 4 institutions have been tasked with building a quantum computer capable of breaking all existing encryption. They expect to decrypt every password, every encrypted email, every offshore bank account, every hidden transaction, and every secret communication between members of the cabal over the past 30 years. They have collected everything since 2001: emails, phone calls, and bank transfers, every digital footprint of every corrupt politician, banker, and intelligence agent. They couldn't read it until now. The bad guys aren't prepared for what's coming. What's inside those files? The actual communications of Epstein's clients, not the redacted names, but all of them. The entire dark side's communication network will be exposed. Why do you think they are trying to remove him right now? They know what's coming. There will be no secrets left, no encryption strong enough, and no Swiss bank vault digital enough. Deception. Guardian Daniel reports of the dismantling of technological deception scenarios, the mental disarmament of Bluebeam project, and signs of digital dominance. He explains that neutralizing this mind operation is achieved through strategic exposure and public denial before its execution, without the need for physical confrontation, within the context of irregular warfare. He describes Bluebeam project as a long-term planned mind operation by the dark side to simulate a threat from alien civilizations using holographic technology, 3-dimensional laser projections in low Earth orbit, with the aim of generating collective panic and forcing acceptance of totalitarian world control. Secret space program. While the world watches obsolete rocket fuel, the true space fleet, codenamed Solar Warden, has been operating with anti-gravity technology for 4 decades, according to Mr. Kitbull 17. In 2002, hacker Gary McKinnon broke into the Pentagon's computers and found something that shouldn't have been there: a spreadsheet titled Non-Terrestrial Officers and the names of ships that don't appear in any public records. He found evidence of a secret Starfleet operating beyond Earth. The TR-3B technology of triangular ships is a product of these secret programs. They use a magnetic plasma vortex to reduce their weight by 89%. They don't fly. They manipulate the space around them. This fleet is used to control traffic in our solar system and protect mining operations on the Moon and Mars. While you pay for energy on Earth, they are silently extracting trillions of dollars worth of resources, using technology that could eradicate poverty on Earth in just 24 hours. Why are they hiding it? Because admitting the existence of Solar Warden would mean admitting that oil, gas, and coal are unnecessary. The global economic system would collapse if the existence of free energy and anti-gravity, which has existed since the Reagan era, were discovered. They keep you trapped on the surface, paying bills for obsolete technology, while the elite have already built an infrastructure among the stars with your money. The real program is a military-industrial complex that abandoned Earth long ago. They teach you that space is inaccessible, but they have already conquered it. Dark Fleet. In reality, there were two secret space programs, one run by the Nazi dissident civilization based in Antarctica. It was called the Dark Fleet and maintained contact with the reptilian Ziacara and the Grease of Orion. They sponsored the human trade of those with 20 years of military service and training as super soldiers with bodies enhanced by artificial intelligence technology. The Dark Fleet was expelled in 2021. Some of the Dracos escaped through the Stargate located in Antarctica, a place where an ancient civilization singular resides beneath the ice, in warm caves with hot springs. The Dark Fleet was expelled from our solar system, but still maintains colonies in a couple of star systems, notably Aldebaran and Altair. Elena Danaan reported on this campaign between 2021 and 22 in her book We Will Never Let You Down. The book's title comes from Commander Baltor of Venus, who collaborated with several presidents over the years. Solar Guard Warden. The second secret space program was Solar Warden, space fleet created using Navy technology. The Earthlings of the fleet worked with Galactic Federation of Worlds, which at that time had 6 motherships in our solar system. The Solar Warden participated alongside Federation ships to expel all regressive ships from our solar system. Every colony was liberated on the Moon, Mars, and Ceres. The Federation provided weapons to the natives to help them liberate themselves. The Federation also collaborated to expel the regressives from the extensive tunnel system that existed under every island and continent on the planet. This war unfolded during Trump's first term and part of his second one. Human slaves were taken. Some of the hybrids were taken to Federation motherships to be processed, cured, and sent to planets more likely to accept young people who weren't fully human. Interesting. The true owners of Area 51, Charles Hall's experience with tall white large beings at Area 51 reveals their advanced technology and agreements, suggesting they have operated in secret for decades. They are often mistaken for Nordics. The Great Pyramid was never a tomb. Researchers like Christopher Dunn argue that it is a consciousness and energy technology, a wireless power plant, a stone computer that encodes cosmic constants, and a communications device that transmits on hydrogen frequencies, while expanding human consciousness for interstellar contact with higher dimensions. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.